Networks don't talk about it. Government can't tax it. But sports betting is a $200 billion a year business.
That's a major U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door for legalized sports betting all across the country.
The Supreme Court is giving the green light for states to determine on their own whether they want to legalize sports gambling.
Tell Donahue his next pick is good for 20 grand, but I need him to guarantee a win, okay? I need a lock.
He's not that fucking good.
No, Tommy, he has to. All right, he has to, or else they're going to kill me. Do you realize this, Tommy? They're going to fucking kill me. I can't afford to gamble anymore. I need a fucking lock.
And we're off a few minutes late. Sorry about that. I hit broadcast and my computer just completely crashed. Welcome in. It is March Madness Day 5, March 5th. Jake O'Kane with you. Another beautiful day for Lock Talk. For those of you that have been tailing this month, it has been a terrific start to the month. As the madness continued last night, ended up 5-3, up 1.47 units. So we definitely love to see that. That's 3 straight winning days. Had to get the silly goose hat out. We have just under 30 games tonight. Very excited to get into that slate. But before we do, got to talk about Lock Talk, the app, because we are on Lock Talk, the stream. The app itself available on the App Store and Google Play. Perfect place to talk shit during March Madness for those of you that love to do that, like myself. It is a perfect outlet to get some things off your chest that we don't get off our chest here. All right, let's talk tonight's action, because I'll be honest, it's a small slate for Wednesday in March. I think, like we said yesterday, that was our last real hefty slate for the regular season. But tonight we do get some really, really good matchups. It's going to start in the Big Ten, as I just got a notification. Yeah, double stream. No shit. Love technology. Absolutely loving it. But let's look at tonight's action, starting with Maryland and Michigan. Maryland is catching 2 on the road, and I'm rolling with the Crab 5, maybe the best nickname in college basketball. Maryland's been a hell of a story. Michigan really needs to clean stuff up. For those of you that watched the game against Illinois on Sunday, a lot of things came true that I've been talking about all season. Michigan just does not feel like they're nearly as good as they should be when they were, or not nearly as good as people say they should be. Not what I believe. So perception obviously is different. Michigan last month in February won 7 games. Now in those 7, 6 of them came a bucket or less. And the 7th game was 4. So Michigan really has been playing to the level of their competition just about every single time that they come out on the floor, which is fine. And playing the level of your competition in March, you can get away with that as long as you're not a mid-major. Now, Maryland, on the other hand, is thriving. Maryland is not a team that worries me going on the road. This is, to me, a great spot. I'm going to take the Terps plus 2 for a half unit. This is more of a fade of Michigan, as I think Michigan is really, the water's going to find its level with the Wolverines, and it's not going to be pretty. I don't think Vlad Golden is all that. It just, I don't know. I don't know, but let's keep it moving. In the ACC, Clemson against Boston College. I like Clemson laying 8.5 or 8 rather, but I only like doing it at the half. The Tigers, they're real. And if you haven't heard it, Alabama and Clemson, now basketball schools. Were football schools. They're now basketball schools. The Tigers are great. They excel on the road, which most ACC teams can't tout. The ACC has been, well, we've talked about it. 9-3 against the spread and straight up on the road. One of the reasons that I'm going to be laying the points, I feel comfortable with them. Now, the reason that I'm doing it at half is because Clemson, a little bit of an interesting team. This group is 24-5 against the spread in the first half. You can argue that nobody outside of maybe Duke gets out to a hotter start than them. Now, again, are they mopping up a bad ACC? Maybe, but that's neither here nor there. You play the teams that you play, and when teams or conferences rather have down years, they have down years. Chase Hunter definitely primed up to have a big game. In the last 2, he's only scored 14 points. He shot 5 of 15 from the field. A guy like him doesn't stay down for long. I think Clemson comes out of this one, comes out the gate strong and smacks around Boston College. Next one I wanted to talk about is Florida and Alabama. It's not actually a game that I have any money on. I can't believe the total didn't quite crack 180. It was 178.5 when I was going through stuff this morning. I'm interested to see because it was kind of teetering. And if we look at, we got to go. This is a 6 o'clock tip. Yeah, 178.5, still not quite tickling that 180 mark. Alabama is laying 2. This is going to be, I think, an Alabama spot. Florida 102 to 88 win at home last time. I don't think they get to run and gun on Bama's floor like that. I know Bama likes to run, but I just don't think that they're going to allow that. It was an embarrassment in Gainesville. I don't think Bama's going to let that happen again. I would lean Alabama. I would love to bet the over, but 178.5 is a ridiculous amount of points, but it's not too many points. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's get to our next one, going mid-major in the NEC, the Northeastern Conference. Wagner, St. Francis, Pennsylvania, over 124.5. My note in this one, sometimes you got to be the asshole that throws water on the fire, because right now St. Francis has won 3 straight games, all in OT. Would it be a wonderful story to see the sub 500 Red Flash make a little bit of a run here in the NEC? Sure, but I really do think that ends tonight. Now, originally I was going to fade St. Francis at home here, or not at home, but in the tournament. I actually landed on the over. I mean, you look at these finishes this season, 138, 136. St. Francis has actually gone over in 9 of their past 10. 9 of their 13 wins were at home this year. I think you're going to see a little bit more of a fight or flight response, and I think they're going to fight. This is a game, again, really, really low total. If it was played at Wagner we know loves to play low totals, but it's not played at Wagner. This is a neutral floor. It should be a really good matchup. I think that thing is going way over. I only put a half unit on it, but really, I could see that thing getting upgraded. Let's move along in the Big 12. Let's move to the Big 12. Oklahoma State at UCF. I talked about big totals. This one is high, 165.5. And I'm betting the under. Nothing says tradition like betting the under on the second highest total on the board. This game was an absolute track meet in Stillwater a couple of weeks ago. It was a 104-95 finish. UCF turned the ball over 20 times. There were 51 total fouls, 73 total free throws. The game was completely off the rails. I don't think they do that tonight. I think both teams are probably going to dial it back a little bit. UCF, you're looking at a group that's got 5 seniors in the rotation. It is senior night, and we talk about senior night a lot, but honestly, it means something, especially when you got 5 guys that are getting honored. I don't see the shit show of a game getting ran back between these two. It's a hold your nose kind of bet, but I'm going to hold my nose, take the under at 165.5. 2 more plays to get through. It's going to be a nice short episode today. St. Bonaventure. I like the Bonnies laying 8 against UMass. The Bonnies have been a sweetheart for bettors this season. 61% against the spread. That raises to 64% at home and 67% when they're favored. Trends are looking in our favor. Laying the points, I'm going to reference their last matchup. These teams almost identical on the stat sheet when they played last. Now, the biggest difference was points in the paint. 42-28 in favor of the Bonnies. It ended up with a double-digit victory. Unless UMass got bigger and nastier in the last few days, I really don't see a route where they're going to take care of business in this one. Somebody's got to put a body on Noel Brown. Noel Brown is a really, really good big man. He's skilled. He can move guys. I mean, he moves them, especially in the mid-major setting that they're in. Also worth mentioning, St. Bonaventure shot 4 of 13 from 3 in their last matchup. Not a team that normally runs and guns and chucks threes, but I do think if we see some slight improvement there, they're going to take care of business. Again, I'm laying 8 with the Bonnies. Wanted to talk about Marquette and UConn real quick. We got a hell of a matchup in stores. I am going to lay off of it. Marquette, little bit of a cautionary tale. They've had a odd year, but not as odd as UConn. UConn, for as great as they've been, back-to-back national championships, it is a down year for Hurley and the boys, and Hurley and the boys are laying 3.5 against the Marquette Golden Eagles. I just don't see a route where I bet this game. The one thing I wanted to look at, the total in that game, I contemplated betting the over. It's 144.5 right now. This is, looking to see, 144.5 right now. It ended 146 with a UConn victory when they played in Milwaukee here a few weeks ago. But I'm just not quite there yet. I'm not betting Marquette. I bet Marquette a lot earlier this season. They've just kind of fell out of bed in a way that I didn't expect to see coming. But hey, we'll see. Big East tournament starts up next week. They could absolutely make a run. But so could UConn. UConn, I wouldn't count out Danny Hurley and the boys yet. All right, let's talk about the last two matchups, technically, because we've got our first money line pairing for a parlay. I know I talk about parlays being poison, but sometimes you just got to pair them up. This one, I'm going with the Loyola Ramblers as well as my Wisconsin Badgers. The Ramblers, they're 15-1. They're hosting a Davidson team that they handled on the road earlier this season. They're not good against the spread. Loyola, I wouldn't lay the points. Talk about a cautionary tale. That is a cautionary tale. But what they can do is they can win games. And I'm going to pair them up to win with my Badgers tonight, coming off of a tough loss to Michigan State. And he also had a tough loss to Oregon. Now, as you're getting into the Big Ten tournament, the way the Big Ten tournament is set up, even though we've added teams, it is still the same format. Top 4 teams get a double bye. Wisconsin right now is sitting in the 5th seed, and there's 2 games to play. They get Penn State this weekend. That should be an easy victory. The Badgers need this. The Badgers need this one bad. They're going to be definitely watching the Michigan-Maryland game later, as that definitely has a lot going on. So definitely excited to see how Wisconsin can come out of this. The first matchup was a 21-point pantsing in Madison. It was pretty embarrassing for the Gophers, but hey, it's senior night for Minnesota as well. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to lay the 7.5. That just keeps widening. I think it started at 6. However, Wisconsin, like I said, the motivation is there to get the victory outright. I like them taking it here against Minnesota. So let's run it back here before we get out of here. Loyola, Wisconsin moneyline parlay. That's going to pay out right around even money. Marquette, UConn is a pass. St. Bonaventure laying 8 against UMass. We've got Oklahoma State at UCF under 165.5. Wagner against St. Francis, Pennsylvania. We're going over 124.5. Passing on the Florida-Bama game. Again, super high number. Very excited. Clemson first half laying 8.5 or 8. I got 8 flat. It's 8.5 now. So definitely watch that one. Clemson first half laying 8 at Boston College. And then, of course, we've got the Crab 5 coming into Michigan and catching 2 with the upset. I like Maryland tonight. So keeping this thing going, man. It's been 3 straight winning days. Got to keep up the momentum. But other than that, kept this thing under 15 minutes today. Can't say we'll be doing that tomorrow and going forward, but it's a quiet little Wednesday here in the Midwest. So appreciate it. Always stay sharp and good luck with your bets this evening.